Okay, so we're at the stage now where I have blue tacked the leg. Now if you look at it like this, you can see what I'm trying to achieve here by having it at this angle. You want, when it sits in there at the knee, this hip socket here, you'll note that this section here is perpendicular to the ground. So when the pelvis is fitted like so, this section here is going to be horizontal, which means that this needs to be at an angle. So you've got to remember that that's got to be at the angle. I've checked with all my armor panels that go inside, outside, rear. They're all marked on the inside. I've checked to make sure that they are all going to fit once the thing is in the right position. So that's all good. I now need to take that off, and I grab my texter and I just mark here where I'm going to be drilling the rod, the pin through. So I'll pin through there. I'll drill that with my little rotary tool, which you can see here. That's just going to get drilled there. It's going to be a 3mm brass rod. And a couple of other things to note. You can see the angle there again. You've got long pistons and short pistons. So there's a long piston and a short piston. You get a short one and a long one for each. You get two short ones and two long ones for each leg section. And the short ones go front and back, and the long ones go on the inside and the outside. Yeah, because you can see this one doesn't need much travel here. And there's not much at the back either, because at the back you can see this is actually a little bit lower. So yeah, next step is to pin it and use the cold weld epoxy to glue this. I'll use rubber bands to then hold some tension on it as it's setting. In 4 hours it'll be maximum adhesion, and then I'll leave it for 24 and come back to it tomorrow. And yeah, there we go. So the next video will be me drilling, I guess, so I can show you how that's done. It's pretty simple, but it's worth showing. All right, I'm going to cut the pin. So I've gone with 2 inches of the 3mm brass rod. Measure it out on here. All pretty straightforward stuff. Mark it. I use this little mini miter box. Took it from the craft store, or a hobby store, sorry. Chuck him in there. It's actually really good for this, and we very carefully do that. That's a good noise. There we go, that's cut. So the idea is that we will be pinning this through here and through, so through the ankle, you'd call it, through the knee and through the hip. So basically what you're doing is you're making joints that are like a skeleton. So if you were making a skeleton stronger, you'd pin it. Like when you fuck your fingers up and they pin them back together. Note the mask. I don't know if you can hear me very well. There's the mask. I'm going to use the blue tack now. So I've taken the blue tack off the bottom here. I'm going to use this blue tack around the outside here, where it's not actually going to be contacted. I'm going to just use this as like a guide to keep this where I want it. So I'm going to be drilling up from the bottom. I'm going to be going into the, so we'll just double check. That's about where I want it. That's pretty good. Get this guy going. All right, so I have used this guy to drill out the base of the foot and the bottom of the leg. to put the pin in. I tried to video it, but it was very hard to understand what I was saying with the mask on. So you can see here, I've managed to get 1.5 inches into the base there of 3mm brass rod. That's I'm now going to glue that with my cold weld epoxy, and that is not going to go anywhere. So the next step is to glue him. Yeah, that's where we're at. The little bit of leftover at the bottom here, I'm just going to mark it there, and I'll cut it with a little hacksaw. Yeah, so pretty straightforward. All right, we can see here that I have glued the pieces of this leg in place. So this is his left leg. So this will be stepping forward, this leg, and this leg, you can see the rubber bands here. Those rubber bands are just putting some tension on it while I'm waiting for the epoxy to set. So that'll be tomorrow sometime, that should be done. I've checked with with these parts here that these all fit. Obviously before I posed anything, I checked that these parts still fit and align correctly in there. So what I've done, I've set this up so that this is just temporary, but I'm going to have this foot, basically I didn't want it to just be standing on a flat wooden base or just a completely flat surface. I wanted it to be actually interacting with the thing that it's standing on, with the base itself. So it'll be crushing there'll be crushed metal under there, bent metal coming out, you know, possibly a hand sticking out there or something from a marine, who knows. But yeah, there'll be crushed metal, so it's not actually sitting completely flush. I'll actually pin it to the base, so the pin will run through into the base of this foot. It'll have plenty of strength there, but it's not going to be sitting completely flush, because I think that looks a bit boring. So that was one of the challenges. The next challenge is posing it. So excuse the shaky cam here, but we then have to get the leg in there like that. So that's the next stage, and you can see that leg is going to be quite straight as our front leg. The back leg is going to be a challenge, where we've got the foot sort of raised as he's stepping forward. But you know, it's all part of the fun.